Yo Joe, greetings fans. My name is John Edward Lee and I'm here with another universe-expanding books and toys. It is the 4th of July, Independence Day, here in the United States of America, so I thought it would be a good idea to visit one of my favorite all-time toy series, cartoon series, comic book series, etc., G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. In fact, I'm here with my Order 66 shirt that is very much in the G.I. Joe style. What I love about this shirt is usually this would be 3 Joe's faces, implying that the Empire is the good guys in this G.I. Joe, trying to stop the rebels, bent on galactic domination and toppling the government. So I always thought that's kind of funny. But I'm here to unbox 2 specific figures. One is CoverGirl, a particular favorite G.I. Joe of mine. In fact, if you know anything about me, I particularly like female characters, so I had to have her. And then, of course, one of my favorite Joes of all times, Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, just as a kid, I loved this character so much. But that's what we're going to unbox today. Now, as far as G.I. Joes goes, you can see that these are in the complete packaging, no window, the plastic-less packaging. That's why they're coming out of the box. My philosophy is if you can't see the toy inside the box, it comes out of the box. If you can see the toy inside the box, usually it stays in there. Transformers notwithstanding, I will always take my Transformers out. You gotta play with them, you gotta transform them, that's what they're there for. But most Star Wars Black Series figures and things like that I keep in the box. So, we're gonna start with CoverGirl. Like I said, I particularly enjoy female characters the most, so I also have Lady J. And I have to address something real quick. I, just a couple days ago, had a discussion with a friend of mine who was mixing up Lady J and CoverGirl. And I said, no, Lady J is the one with the short hair. And he went, well, CoverGirl has short hair too. And I said, no, she doesn't. Trust me, I know. Later on, they changed CoverGirl. They gave her longer hair and made her blonde. I think to be, so they could have a redhead with a ponytail, brunette with short hair for female characters, and then one with long blonde hair to keep them separate. So I 100% understand why my friend mixed these up, and I must apologize to him because CoverGirl does indeed not only have short hair on this figure, but also the original Marvel comic book, the figure, original action figure, and in the cartoon. So I'm always happy to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong in that instance. Along with Lady J there, of course, is Scarlet. In the bad guy's side, you have the Baroness and her coil. I'm an optician. I hate that her glasses are all crooked in that package. What can you do? The newer version that they brought out of her on the card has the glasses separate. I think that was a smart move. Also in the bad side is Zarana, Zartan's sister and member of the Dreadnoks. Of course, I really like the Dreadnoks too, so I had to have that character. But we're here to unbox some Joes. So going back to CoverGirl, like I say, in every video I do an unboxing, I pop the tape first. This is not my first time opening a G.I. Joe figure. I have the Serpentor figure as well. But I've never seen that before because I've never opened up an individual figure, so I'm assuming that that is accessories. It is a big bag just for those accessories. Luckily, I brought my scissors with me, and we will check those out here in just a second after we check out the figure. So, let's get her out of there. There she is. Awesome. I'm a big fan of Joe's. G.I. Joe came out when I was about 5 or 6 or 7, around that time in the 80s. It was on every day. It was on one of the few channels my family could get on our rural mountain property, so I actually watched a lot of them. Transformers, not so much. That did not play it played, but not on a channel that I could get. So there she is. Tank Commander, CoverGirl, clearly has short hair, as I said. Sorry, Monty, you were completely right. There she is. So what did she come with? Like I said, she's a tank person, so she comes with a wrench to help keep that tank moving just right and ready to go whenever Cobra strikes. So she also comes with a pistol. I'm not a gun guy. I don't know what kind of pistol this is, if it's even a real kind, but it does go right in her holster. And the one cool thing about G.I. Joe modern figures is they always find places to put everything. So I bet the wrench hangs from her belt. And the gun, I assume she's just meant to hold. But she also comes with this little tablet with some weapon statistic. I'm never going to be able to show you what that looks like. But it looks like there's some tank information there. And that also, she has a little holster there for her tablet. Let's put it on the outside so it looks like she's ready to go. That looks great. It looks like it's actually on. So, I'm trying to see if there's a picture of the monkey wrench hanging in here. Oh, there is a spot for it right there on her belt. So let's get that on there. There she is, ready to rock and roll. One more thing she needs, as Cobra has just entered the base, she needs to prepare herself with her weapon. I love how tight they make the hands. That's a Kung Fu grip if there ever was one, but there you go. You can see it does fit perfectly in there with the finger. And there she is. Blue lasers flying everywhere up towards the sky because you never want to aim down and actually hit your opponent in G.I. Joe. So there's CoverGirl ready to rock and roll. Unlike Rock and Roll, who's ready to CoverGirl. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke. I do not actually apologize for that. Deal with it. All right, so that was CoverGirl. So now we're going to move over to Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, G.I. Joe was already awesome. They added this guy who was a wrestler, but it's a real person. And the idea that a real person could be a G.I. Joe was fascinating to me. I was not into wrestling. I have a friend who, every time I say that, he's like, what do you got against wrestling? I just wasn't into it. I will tell you that I do have something against wrestling, and I told him at the time. There he is. After G.I. Joe, of course, he was a wrestler, and they mess with wrestlers being good guys and bad guys. In like 1991, they decided to not only make Sergeant Slaughter a bad guy, but an Iraq he was in favor of Iraq during Desert Storm, and I was like, no way a G.I. Joe would ever do that. I'm never going to watch wrestling again. I can't deal with the emotional toll that put on me, and that's true. It really bothered me, and I had to be like 11 at the time. But that doesn't mean I don't still love Sergeant Slaughter, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the Joe. Of course, you don't really see him like that. He always has his signature hat and glasses on, which I assume are here in this little Foot Locker box. Now, this one was a little bit more expensive than the other one. I mean, he's not too much bigger figure than the other ones. And obviously the same scale, but they gave him some interesting things as far as accessories. So, some very tiny things, so I have to be careful. So tiny, in fact, that they have to, put them in these cards so that things don't get lost. So, here he is, or here they are, his sunglasses, so tiny. I'm an optician, so I know how to adjust these properly in case they don't fit. But look, he's got a nice pair of Maui Jim or Ray-Ban sunglasses there with the mirror coating perfectly adjusted. It doesn't fall down the nose. I'm sorry, I'm being an optician nerd. Anyways, he looks great with that. So before I get into the other accessories, I feel like he needs to have his hat. I feel like his head must be cold without his hat that he's so used to having all the time. So let's cut into that pack. Oh gosh, that looks cool. All right, we'll keep those there. So, let's see. There he is, ready to rock. I can't put that hat on yet because there's another accessory he needs. And it won't fit over the hat. It's probably a good clue as to what it is. Actually, this is what I saw first, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's so tiny, but extremely necessary for Mr. the Slaughter, or whatever you want to say. Sergeant Slaughter. I heard an interview with him once that he occasionally goes to visit Marines in hospital, and they'll salute him, and he'll be like, no, I'm not, I was never in the military, I'm an actor, a wrestler, and they're like, I'm still going to salute you anyways, man, which I think is kind of sweet, and I get it. So what I needed to put on first is his whistle, so he can command the Joes and intimidate Cobra. So I'm sure to put that on before his glasses. and then his hat, and then his baton, so that he can command. Well, I'm not going to put another hand on him, but he's got fists. But he has multiple hands. I mean, like a ton of them. He can do so much with these hands. He can hold guns, although he doesn't come with the gun as far as I've found so far. I don't think he does. I never saw him use a gun in there. But some vicious, you know, you can do some wrestling moves with these hands. He has to come with something because I see a scope and I see a stock. So let's see. Ah, there is one left to go. He does come with a gun, which, you know, really makes sense. I lost a hand, but I can see it right there. It won't be hard to find. So like I said, I'm not gonna waste time putting a hand on him. You know what it looks like when they're holding him, but there it is. So this guy goes in here. Again, I'm not a gun person. I'm there for the storyline and the interesting things that Cobra and Joe do. And let's see, the scope has got to go in there a very specific way. I think I got it. There are many guns like this one, but this one, oh, I don't even know how that goes. I shouldn't even impersonate military people, especially not on Independence Day, since I didn't do the military. Oh, maybe it goes on the side. Yeah, that looks about right. All right. Let's check the box and see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Yeah. So there he is with the scope. Sergeant Slaughter. Looking awesome. I can't wait to pose this guy. And he'll probably have his hands on his hip. Maybe he'll be blowing his whistle or whatever. So there's one other accessory that comes with this guy that makes him the awesomest. And that's a little version of his own action figure for him to hold. Now, I had Sergeant Slaughter as a kid, but I had him with the Triple T tank. I didn't have him on an individual card, which I believe was slightly different color-wise. But there he is. Hey, Hasbro, I doubt you're watching this, but if anyone knows Hasbro and can get this message to them, you're doing the Transformers cross G.I. Joe. They've done Megatron as a Hiss tank, Bumblebee as a Joe Jeep. They just announced Soundwave as the Thunder Machine from the Dreadnoks. Triple T tank, Grimlock. I can see it happening. I think it would be perfect. Please do that. So those are my Joes. I will tell you that I do have some other unboxing videos planned that I just want to do this one for 4th of July specifically. I have a lot of X-Men that I'm going to go through. So look forward to that. Anyways, those of you who celebrate, happy 4th of July. Celebrate your independence as I am today, playing with toys, playing some video games, eating some good food. Like I said, I'll be back. I need to do some Star Wars content. I got my Star Wars background here, my Star Wars shirt, but I've actually been lacking because I've been focusing on doing content for the community of Star Wars collectors. Join that group if you collect Star Wars and watch my live videos there. But for this, thank you, real American heroes, fighting against Cobra, fighting for freedom over land and air. You're always there. This is John Edward Lee. Remember that the Joes will be there to protect you. Yo, Joe.